Hey y'all, it's David Ducker coming back at you, and today I'm going to be talking about how I do mega cities, the hive cities, the city from Blade Runner, the city from Metropolis, uh, Coruscant from Star Wars. So these are densely populated urban areas. These are conglomerations of skyscrapers reaching up beyond the clouds and going down seemingly to the mouth of hell itself. So one thing I really love, the main classification I give in the mega city, is that cloud line. There's a portion above the smog, above the clouds, a world of glittering crystal and adamantine steel where the wealthy have their pleasure gardens, where they have their penthouse apartments tended by robot butlers and live the good life. They never have to worry about the rain, the sun coming down on their beautiful 1% style existence. And by 1%, I think you know what I mean by that. It's they are the 1% of people who control 99% of the wealth of this world. That's the upper hive, the upper echelon. The CEOs, the mayor, the chief of police, the archbishop and cardinal, all of these people of wealth and taste and class. And then, if you go down, you have the intermediate zone, the middle hive. Some days the smog will sink down and they'll have their time in the sun. But at other times the smog will come up and they'll either be in this foggy mist or they'll be below the cloud line. It'll be raining, it'll be gray, it'll be polluted. There's this acid rain coming down. The air quality is bad. There's a lot of humidity in the air. Very often it's going to be unbearably hot, although there can certainly be cold megacities as well. But these are the people of the middle class and the middle hive. Typically a pretty small group of people, but they can walk in both worlds depending on the situation. They've seen that little glimmer of hope, the pleasure gardens, the robot butlers, and they want that so bad, the yearning for security and safety. So these are kind of middle management. These are the police detectives, perhaps. These are maybe the lower level bishops or clerics of the church. These are mid-level crime bosses, because you can have the crime bosses up there in the upper hive as well. So they've seen it up there, but they've also seen it down below. So they know the horror of the lower hive, of poverty, of gang warfare, of pollution, of never seeing the sun, of not having any power, any money, anywhere to sleep except under a pile of garbage. To have all of the piss and shit and trash thrown down on them from the upper hive. They know that's what's going down. That's what's going on down below the cloud line. And some days they're below that line, and other days they're basking in the sun. So they can live a very marginal, very fearful existence, and that can drive them into doing desperate things. Speaking of desperate things, if we go down, the bottom hive, they're always below the cloud level. It's almost always raining, it's dark, it's humid, it's hot, it's crowded, it smells terrible. Again, the garbage is just thrown down here. The pollution and smog settles down in this area. This is where you're going to get your birth defects, where you want to walk around with a gas mask on. And more so, this is the area where the police are afraid to prowl unless they're armed and in force. You're not going to see a lone policeman wandering around down here. You might see a gang of 5 or 10 police. And some of them have riot shields, stun guns, rifles, anything they think they might need, because this is where the gangs roam, the vicious street gangs on their hover bikes, hover cars, ready to take people out, shake them down for money, have protection rackets up against them. And of course, some of them just savage animals, and they just want to commit sadistic crime, beatings, rapes, for no other reason than their own amusement. And part of the reason for this crime is the area of poverty. This is the place where you might not have a roof over your head, where you're living paycheck to paycheck, where you have no job security, where if you're killed or injured on the job, you're fired, and there's nobody to take care of you. This is the place where starvation can become rampant. So you kind of have to either drift into a gang or rely on charity just in order to get by. These are the people who can't even see that bright utopia so far above them. Just like the people on the upper hive might not really know how bad it is down here. They've never had to worry up there about missing rent payments, about not having something to eat the next day, about getting the shit kicked out of you just because you looked at someone on the subway in the wrong manner, or just because that guy was tweaking out. He thought you were a goblin. He thought you're a level 1 goblin, and he had to smash you down with his liquor bottle of justice, +5 liquor bottle, right to your nugget, goblin. And you have no idea what he's talking about, but you do know that your head's busted open now, and you're bleeding everywhere, and you don't have health insurance. So this is kind of the main dichotomy. It's where do you fall on this hive hierarchy? And down in that lower hive where the sun never shines, you can even have these subhuman mutated cults down in the sewers lurking around. You have the mutant alligators in the sewers. You can have whole ecosystems down here that up there they have no idea that it's even there. I believe you can find some literature in Star Wars on Coruscant and Nar Shaddaa, 2 planets that have megacities, and occasionally you'll get a glimpse into the very lower hive, the deep bowels of humanity, where inhuman actions are perpetrated. If I can get untongue-tied with this baby. So that's the main dichotomy, is where do you fall, where's the cloud cover, the geography of this hive. Now, of course, you'll have all the other regular amenities of any kind of city as well. So you'll have to decide what's your architectural style, what's the fashion of the area, what's the local cuisine like, what are the different art styles, and this can incorporate giant holographic billboards. You could have holographic clothing if that's your one and custom. Maybe the rich wear shield belts, for personal force field belts, that is. Whatever you want to do with that. You can have it be bleak and industrial and Blade Runner style, or soaring and utopian, but covered in filth and shit at the lower levels. It's like that building probably used to be just beautiful and gorgeous, but now it's covered in graffiti, and it's been acid rain was poured on it for 50 years, and there's not much to look at now. So there's a plethora of things you can do for individual cities, and then of course move through your government, which would be like city hall, your military, which in the case of a city is the police force. So police, SWAT, detectives. This can be your judges and district attorneys. How do they function on each layer of the hive? The lower hive is going to have all these SWAT teams and 5-person fire teams. The very upper hive might have a lot of detectives in nice suits that deal with white-collar criminals, and they've never had to shoot anyone. Your religion, of course, down in the lower hive, charity will be so important, providing beds and meals and prayers of salvation for all these horribly forgotten, mistreated maltreated individuals. Whereas in the upper level, you might have these glass mega churches, where all the rich get together and make these huge donations, and we're going to build a replica of Noah's Ark, bigger than Noah's Ark was. And could that money feed a lot of people? Maybe. Will it? Hell no, we're going to build a replica of the Ark. We're not feeding people. We're showing everyone what the Ark looked like, and we're making it twice as big so they can see it from twice as far away. So they can have their priorities completely out of whack, or completely in line, depending on how faithful and pious you are. And of course, the economy will be very different on each of these levels as well. You're going to have the working class down there, and competing against clones and robots for jobs. And then the middle class, robots can't usually take their jobs away as easily. Clones might. And then of course the upper class, and it's like they don't really need a job. Maybe they have a job. Maybe they're not very good at their job, but they get to decide who below them has a job. That's for sure. Because they control all of the means of production. Capitalism. So, and then of course technology as well. And the tech level can determine a lot about your mega city. Are there hover cars, or are there skyways, these highways up on stilts and scaffolding, metropolis style, Chicago style? Do they have light rail transit? Do they have teleporters going from? You could just teleport anywhere if you have the right key card. Because the lower hive, that guy, his key card won't let him up above that smog line, unfortunately. So of course you have to decide the technology level. Even things like force fields and holograms, that can make a really big difference in architecture and security, and how tactical threats are handled and identified. But I just wanted to share that kind of my hive ecology, the beautiful pyramid, and how you can have these three fairly different cities all in one city. And then yes, divide the districts up: the government, the military, the industrial, the white collar district, and all that good stuff. So let me know what you think about how I do megacities. In the comments below, let me know, how do you do them? What am I forgetting? What have I overlooked? And of course, video responses are, as always, much appreciated. Until I see you again, good day and good gaming.